Welcome to Game Soup. It's a game design podcast where we throw ideas in a pot and see what's cooking. I'm Chloe Montgomery, and I'm joined by my most rancorous chum.
Kayla Dice? Rancorous?
Yeah, rancorous chum.
What does
it's
rancorous
a thing
mean?
from Homestuck. It's like angry, I think.
Ah. Yeah. I feel these are now getting less accurate. Oh no, we've now done memento order on them, I guess.
Listen, it feels like a part of an opening. It feels like something.
Yeah.
The reason you're my most rancorous chum is because this episode's coming out on the day of our Lord, April the 13th. It's June Egbert's birthday. And you don't know who that is, do you, Kayla?
So my understanding, I have more understanding of Homestuck than just thinking it's when your cat gets trapped in a place. Don't worry. I recognize names and things. I have no idea what goes on in it, but I'm vaguely familiar with the name June Egbert who got trans, right?
Yeah. They're not actually canonically trans, but like, it was one of those things the author said, oh yeah, we're going to make them trans. And then they never followed up on that. So, thanks, Hussy. So, my idea for today was Kayla, who does not know what Homestuck is going to help me create the Homestuck tabletop RPG. So, in Homestuck, they actually play a game. It's a webcomic about 4 kids playing a game, and it's a video game in the thing, but I think in our version it's going to be they're playing a tabletop game.
Oh, that sounds really simple.
Yeah, no, I don't know how it's like longer than the Bible. The game that they play is actually called Sburb, which is like suburb, but without a vowel. What do you think Sburb, the game, is?
So it's a video game, you said?
It's a video game, yeah.
One word, my guess would be like, is it a Doom-like? Otherwise known as a first-person shooter. Don't know why I phrased it as Doom-like. I was there just thinking like, oh, Sburb. It sounds on the way, you get your Dooms, your Quakes, your Halos. Is it like a shooty, pow-pow sci-fi thing?
Okay, I'll give you a genre. It's a Sims-like.
It's a Sims-like. Okay, right. Yeah, I should have thought more of the suburbs and less of the sound. In my mind, I was like, oh, right, it's called that, but that has nothing to do with anything, would have been my assumption. So is it... It's a Sims-like. There's, I guess, all about suburbia. It's also got town planning in it.
Sure.
Or it takes place in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Does it have characters?
So, okay, you've got these 4 players. They're in the suburbs. So you play as yourself. They get Jumanji'd into this game, basically.
Right.
You know his tabletop RPG, Die? It's like that.
Or I guess if it's Jumanji'd into a video game, it is really like the hit Jumanji sequels.
Yeah, well, it's less about them getting Jumanji into a video game. It's more like the video game coming in their real life and they have to escape into the video game.
Okay. So then it's a bit like Jumanji, where, like, like, the game is coming out in there. It's just Robin Williams got Jumanji'd in. That's the thing Die the video game doesn't have. Jumanji is really, a two-way street. Like, those things are flowing back and forth.
Yeah. So we're doing the other side of the Jumanji coin, where the video game affects the real world. So we're doing the tabletop version of this.
I feel like, to make sure we're not accidentally remaking Die or a version like that, we gotta lean really into the video gaminess.
Yeah.
Like, you're able to have cheat codes.
I like that.
I feel like part of me almost went like, what if we wrote 2 games?
Okay, what's 2 games?
Okay, actually, I didn't mean 2 games, really. I meant, what if we had 2 entirely different systems for the video game and, like, the real world, but then it's like, there are mechanics for, like, fucking porting over rules from the video game world to the world as that gradually happens.
So yeah, there's a system for real world stuff and a system for video game stuff.
Yeah.
And somehow you can feed the video game stuff into the real world system.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this boss was defeated in the video game. That's cool. A giant sinkhole just opened up and swallowed the only general store in town. That's what's happened because of that somehow. Or it's like, oh yeah, your character leveled up in the game. The new rule is now at play in the real world.
I like that. Like, the further you get into the game, the more the real world changes.
Yeah, like, I'm almost imagining we go, like, real, like, fucking, like... Do you ever play, like any, like, legacy board games?
I haven't, but I understand the idea.
Yeah, like, I think you have to, like, sticker over things. I think there are codes in the book that, like, that tell you where stickers are. I think we do cryptogramic shit in this.
Yeah. And it's like, if you find the 12 fireflies throughout the book, you can get this move or whatever.
I think this has everyone's favourite Matrix character in that there are lots of ciphers in there.
Such a stretch. You're so very clearly in terminal advertising mode.
Oh, no, I'm not. There's no ciphers in it. Actually, there's like a couple of cipher.
Is Cypher the one who's trans, but they weren't allowed to make them trans?
No, that was Switch. I was being ironic by saying everyone's favourite Matrix character. They're the one who, like, stabs everyone in the back.
Oh, it's the guy who wants to be an Agent Smith.
Yeah, or just wants to go back to the real world. So, like, there's a kind of character in Terminal who's like...
guy,
yeah. There's, like, a ghost character in Terminal who is like, oh yeah, a guy like this who died. And Joe Winter's stretch goal has a bit of sort of, like, Cypherite-esque characters.
That's cool.
But yeah, less of a sort of... That was just me being shitty. But we should have ciphers there. Like, people have got to fucking crack ciphers.
Oh, I was thinking, like, and there's one character who wants to make the world like a video game. And that's one of your classes.
Yeah, what are the classes for this video game jumping back and forth?
Well, I think, like, in my head, I want it to be, like, the most generic sword person, magic person, whatever. But that's not very evocative.
I also feel, I'm going to throw out a weird take. I feel that's not super video gamey. I guess that's like Zeldas and stuff, but I feel that's almost closer to tabletop. More like, I guess now this is throwing out a question, like, what video games have classes? Like, some do, but like...
But it's all RPGs, really.
Like, part of me thinks it's more interesting if we very much do the game you're jumping into is not an RPG.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's a first-person shooter or something, or if it's a platformer or whatever. Like, I guess if it's a platformer, it's hard to have classes. But maybe...
Yeah, but then, if it's a platformer, what is the gameplay at a table? It's like, I roll to jump on his head. You fail. You jump next to him,
I guess it's the thing. Because you jump into the... Are we jumping into the video game, into the screen? Or is it the world of the video game?
I think it's the video game coming out.
But when in terms of both of those ways going back and forth a bit, like, when stuff happens in the video game, or if you were a character who's escaped to the video game and is influencing stuff there, which is then influencing things in the real world coming out, are you, like, is the interior of the video game like, oh, the wider world, or is it like, no, you're on a 2D plane, and you can interact how video game interact would be?
I think it's like Wreck-It Ralph, where it's like us looking into the game, it's a 2D world, but inside the game, it's like an actual world.
Yeah, so I feel you don't then need to lean to, like, jump on his head, but maybe there's a thing about, like, roles for, like, clearing obstacles or stuff, like when you're doing platforming sections.
Yeah, okay.
Part of me, for some reason, because of the way platforming worked, like, oh, I wonder if you could get a system where, like, you get a lot of dice. Someone keeps rolling dice and then sets these out as obstacles. Here, go, bear with me. They go, like, okay.
I'm bearing with you.
The first, like, parameter is a 5, next is 4, next is 13, whatever. And you have to go up to them and say whether you're rolling under or over, like, the obstacle, and then you have to do that roll, and that's jumping.
I like that. It's very Bit Trip Runner. it's like you set the target and then you as a player decide, oh, I'm going to go under, I'm going to go over. And then you try to match. It's like, it's not blackjack, but it's some card game, you know what I mean? It's higher or lower with Bruce Forsyth.
Yeah. I think that's how platforming works when you jump into the platformer. And I guess, I feel like the game we have written is one where we actually probably should go really, like, wild on setting.
Yeah, no, I think it's not just, like, platform. I think, like, level 1 is a platformer, and then level 2 is a Doom-like you're saying.
Okay, yeah.
And then you've got all these wild video game stuff coming out in the real world, and...
Yeah, it's more like cursed console than cursed game.
Yeah, I think... So the way that, like, a campaign would work is, like, the first session is like, oh, we jump into the video game, and we do all these cool Mario things, and then we jump out, and then, oops, Bowser's there in the real world. How do we defeat real-world Bowser?
Yeah, so there's, like, a system for the real world, which gets altered by every game you play. But every game is basically a mini-game.
Yeah.
We have so many everything's a bunch of mini-game games for people who have never done that. Unless I'm wrong on you having done that.
No, but Firebrands is just a very simple idea, and I like it.
I think it's also, like, if we come up with stuff like Plot, where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a fun system for how you do platforming in a tabletop. What is the game? What's the rest of the game? And so it's way much easier to go. And then you swap to another game.
Like, we have like a 2-page spread for each like genre of video game we can think of. So it's like there's 2 pages about like League of Legends, and 2 pages about, I'm trying to think of video games now, like Animal Crossing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's lots of like chunks of words in each of these pages that you can pull out and put into the real world system.
Yeah. That's because.
Yeah. And like they're stickers in the book.
Yeah.
You peel them out and then you put them into the thing over text in the real world rules.
Yeah, maybe we don't even say how they changed. That's just a thing people have to figure out.
Yeah.
But I also feel... a thing I rarely do if I'm like, we should make up a bunch of names and shit for every single game. We should go, like, really hard on, like, having essentially, like, yeah, this is our Super Mario equivalent. And we go really, like, full on all of them.
I like that. Because then we're going to have, like, oh yeah, you've got this super cool new video game system, the Sburb system or whatever. And it comes in pre-installed with 20 cool new games. It's not Crash Bandicoot, it's Smash Wolverine or whatever. And it's not Doom, it's the end of the world or whatever.
It's not Grand Theft Auto, it's Breaking and Entering, Arson Edition.
Exactly, you get it. And then we can have like these full like deep dives into what the worlds in each of these things are, rather than like skirting around like, oh yeah, there's maybe a speedy hedgehog. We can be like, yeah, no, Smash Wolverine, these are his powers, these are what he does.
Because I think then like you get like this big blast of lore. I really did just say blast. You read that, or like as a table, you play out the little mini game stuff, and then like hopefully between all of that, that's decided what's like terrifying or exciting to get like burst into the real world.
Yeah, I like that. And then like as the real world like gets more and more rules put into it, you're like using your platformer skills to defeat demons from the shooter or whatever, and you're using your puzzle skills to defeat Tom Nook or whatever.
Yeah, I also think maybe there's a point about eventually it changing you, I guess. Like, the more you do this. This feels like...
Yeah, absolutely. The more moves you steal from the game and put onto your character sheet, the more of yourself you're losing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe you have to place... in terms of your character sheet, placing stuff on that involves having to place over stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you lose the ability to have you lose the basic ability to convince somebody so that you can do a spin attack. Or something like that.
Yeah. I feel like, convince is a good one, because I feel like that's not so much like the person changing so much as like, you use your ability to be seen as a trusted person because you're a fucking weirdo now who has like spent way too much time in other worlds and stuff. It's not so much you don't know how to convince people anymore, it's just like, you are not a convincing person because of how you're seen. Maybe all of the otherworld stuff, like, you don't necessarily do stuff, you're like, it's all about how people react to you in different ways. Like, maybe all of your moves are that. Like, do they find you convincing, charming, gay?
I think it's like you have, like, really generic, like, moves built into your playbook, and then you're, like, stealing the, like, oh yeah, I can dig up a fossil.
Yeah.
But you lose the ability to research things. I don't know.
No, I like that. This is, I feel, one of the bigger things we've done. We've came up with. Like, I don't know how to keep riffing on this.
This isn't like Homestuck at all.
Yeah, but
this isn't Homestuck at all, to be clear.
Okay, we've moved away from Homestuck. But also it's like, yeah, this both sounds really fun. I don't think we could figure out, like, its specifics in an episode. I feel like the only way this is made is we work on it together over months.
Yeah, we're too close to opening a Google Doc.
Oh. Yeah, we really are close.
Listen, we talked a few weeks ago, or months, or whatever, about, we would do, like, a special month where we did, like, we sat down each episode and be like, so what's the gameplay like? What's the mechanics like?
Where we
whatever.
break down every part. Like, we do an episode on character
actually make
creation for a game, or something.
Yeah.
XBomb 360.
So maybe we make
what
Sburb.
this is maybe called.
What's it called?
XBomb 360. Because it's exploding in the world.
I think that's pretty able to be litigious.
Litigied.
It's lawyer-based.
I don't know. I could maybe get away with
Litigible.
it. Maybe, yeah. Maybe something like that, but different. I feel it would need to be a console's name, but probably not exactly. And maybe one that just sounds like it could be a console name, but is legally distinct.
I like what you said about the cursed console or something.
Yeah, because I feel like maybe it's all... Like, maybe this isn't happening to everyone. It's whoever your main characters are. It's just them who are getting, like... Like, the world is getting affected, but they're the only people going into the video game. And I think it's because, like...
Yeah, they've gotten the beta version of some, like, super deep dive, like, Sword Art Online console. But it's cursed.
Now I'm like, thinking of other consoles, I'm like, there's definitely something with Switch. There's definitely a good name in here ending in Switch. Because that's what you're doing, you're switching between...
Like the World Switch or something.
Yeah.
Again, extremely suable.
Nah, I mean, if we just say Switch, like, that's the only word we're taking, and anything else is a setup. That's fine. They can't copyright that word. I mean, they can
Switch.
trademark it. Now you're the one who's brought in more trademarks. That's not on me.
No, I
don't take responsibility for this. Also, like, come on, I already know enough soft switches.
Thank you for listening to Game
Game
Soup.
Soup.